Hello and welcome to this sellability video. I hope you're doing well, and what I wanted to do in today's session was basically talk a little bit about some of the perks to doing fulfilled by merchant. You hear a lot about FBA, and that's not because FBM is not popular, it's or anything like that. It's just when it comes to information that's available out there, just from like my personal experience from what I've seen, I'm not saying that is the case, but I've seen more about FBA than FBM. And yes, FBA is an amazing method when it comes to selling on Amazon, but there are plenty of perks to doing FBM as well. So if you aren't familiar with FBM, what it is I'm talking about here, that is fulfilled by merchant. So it's one of the two ways that you can fulfill products on Amazon. So whether you do that through Amazon or whether you do it yourself, is completely up to you. And what's pretty cool about selling on Amazon as well is that you can actually mix this up. So you can do FBA and FBM. So you can have a load of products that you have Amazon fulfill for you, and then there will be some products that you might end up fulfilling yourself. And there's a couple of reasons for why you might want to do that. And that's what we're going to get to a little bit later on in this video. So firstly, it's probably a common sense one, but there's no FBA fees. So when you're doing FBA, obviously Amazon are doing half that work for you. So you have to pay for that. There's FBA fees. And so that's something that will obviously be something that you take into account for your costs, what it's going to cost you per product when you analyze a product. So that's something you have to make sure is taken into account when you do your deal analysis. And obviously it's things like that could, tilt a product from being, very profitable to just profitable, or maybe even profitable to just not worth it. And so obviously without having those FBA fees, it does open things up a little bit more for you in terms of how much profit you can achieve, just because it's one less cost. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was more freedom with dangerous goods. So when you're doing FBA and you're sending in your products to Amazon, there's certain products that they are a little bit more careful with in terms of actually dealing with them. So things that are considered hazardous. And in order to do this, in order to actually sell those sorts of products through FBA, you have to be part of the dangerous goods program. But with FBM, you don't have to worry about that so much because you're fulfilling it yourself, you're storing it yourself, you're prepping it yourself, you are sending it to the customer yourself, you're dealing with it all. So you don't have Amazon in that process that could potentially prevent you from selling products that come under that dangerous goods category without being part of the program. But with FBM, you don't have to worry about that at all. You have more control over customer service, and it gives you a bit more freedom with other bits and pieces as well. So this is a bit of a subjective one, so it depends on your own stance and what you think about this. So when you do FBA, Amazon are handling the customer service for you primarily. Of course, there's still some things that you'll need to deal with. There's things that they'll probably escalate to you depending on what it is. But for basic bits and bobs like returns, refunds and things like that, they'll handle all of that for you. And obviously basic contact with customers. But you have more control over this with FBM. And again, you might not like the idea of that. So maybe that's a reason why FBA is more appealing. But if you like to have your own personal touch when it comes to customer service, managing your brand and things like that, then FBM is a great way to go. It means that you know exactly what is going on with everyone. You have your own personal touch when it comes to customer service. So perhaps there's a certain way that you believe that customers should be handled when it comes to communication and things like that. And so through doing it like this as well, it could also help with getting good feedback and reviews and things like that. So more control over customer service and other bits and bobs. You can have your own logistics in place. So again, this one is a bit subjective, and it's if it's possible or not. So it could be perhaps that you do have like a massive space. It might be that you have a warehouse. It might be that you have a big outbuilding or something that you can dedicate to your Amazon journey. Whereby you can store and prep your products. So maybe you've got your own team to do prep for you or something like that. But you can have your own logistics in place to manage all of this for you, which means you have a lot more manageability over all of the costs involved with storage, with prep, and so forth. And obviously, if you've got a good system in place for delivering to customers, and you're able to deliver, you're able to dispatch and ensure that those products are delivered within a quick, in a quick way within a short time period, then that's going to go a long way to helping your feedback, your reviews, customer satisfaction, and most importantly, as I say, you've got more manageability over your costs. So if you've got your own logistics in place to do FBM, then that's amazing. It really is. And the last point is that there is less paperwork. So yes, whilst there could potentially be a little bit more work in some areas, for example, handling customer service, there's less work in other areas. So for example, you'll have less paperwork to do. And a prime example of something that you wouldn't have to bother with would be the non-sales taxes paperwork that you'd get if you were doing FBA. But through doing FBM, you don't have to worry about things like that. So there is less paperwork involved. So FBM, what do you think? It is a fantastic method when selling on Amazon. And as I say, you can do both FBA and FBM. So it might be that you do FBA for a bunch of your inventory, but then for things, for example, that come under that dangerous goods category, or things that you just feel would be a lot easier just to handle yourself, then you can still fulfill products yourself, FBM. And that's the amazing thing about doing Amazon. You can even do FBA for a time, switch to FBM and back again. It's completely up to you, or vice versa. So those, I would say, are the top 5 perks to doing FBM. Hopefully this video was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you soon.